beautiful ladies and gentlemen. How are you? I'm so excited. I cannot hide it. I've got beautiful Marie here that is one part of Soul of a Diamond, and she's gonna come and tell her story. I am so excited. My beautiful Marie, I was so excited I forgot to take the butterfly canvas, and I have to get to the top there to flip it. So I am gonna ask my son if he could come and help me while we play your video. But I would love you to introduce yourself, and then and tell us where you're from, and then I
Okay.
would love to play your video. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Marie here. I'm originally from the east coast of Canada, but now I'm on the west coast, and I'm honored to be here.
Wow, thank you so much. So, Marie, may I please play your commercial or your video? I just
Please.
wanted to let you know that the end screen is your banner that will be going into the Diamond Moment magazine. And I am going to write an amazing article for you. So I'm truly excited to do that. That's my honor to spend time and show you how much I care. So if you're ready, I am going to play your video.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Here we go.
Hi, it's Marie here. I am incredibly humbled and grateful to be a part of Soul of a Diamond with all of you incredible women from all over the world sharing your stories. We all have a story, and often within that story is where we find our true calling. My story is around grief and loss, and through my pain, I have found my purpose to help others navigate that process. Professionally, I'm a social worker, counselor, a grief educator, and an edutherapy practitioner, but what I am more importantly is I'm a griever. I do know what it feels like to have a dark night of the soul, and I also know what it feels like to come out of the darkness into the light. Thank you. Wow.
And you will see I choose the yellow because every time I'm talking to you or see you on the Soul of a Diamond meeting, you have yellow roses or yellow flowers, and
Yes.
there is like beautiful artwork with yellow in. So I hope that you love the yellow. So thank you so much for sending me your beautiful video and your photos. So my beautiful Marie, how do you love your video?
Oh, it's cool. It's really neat.
So I
Awesome.
will thank you. I will be sending that to you as well, and your banner will go into the magazine, and then your commercial will go onto my YouTube channel, but a link will be in the magazine, so people will not be able to see your banner because we have to get something static, but then they can click on that static banner and it will show us your video. So I hope that you're going to love that.
I do.
I'm going to, if it's okay with you, can I please play our beautiful sponsors video? Natalie McQueen, she is our publisher, and we are so over the moon because we launched our book Soul of a Diamond on the 25th of
Mm.
June, and we are bestsellers, and we got so many accolades. So I am over the moon. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
Hi there. My name is Natalie McQueen. I'm the founder of Gifts of Legacy. I am a book publisher and a legacy designer. I am thrilled to introduce my talking journal. This unique journal features recorded messages from 100 trailblazing contributors that we call our masters and mavens. Imagine a journal that you can hold in your hands and get daily prompts of inspiration from these mentor experts. I invite you to be one of our masters and mavens in our first edition on gratitude for $49. This is a low-cost, high-impact alternative to traditional publishing. I cannot wait to hear your inspirational message.
Wow, amazing.
Amazing.
Oh, thank you, my beautiful Marie. So, Marie, this show is all about you. When I read your story was heartfelt. Your story was truly amazing. And I know I'm getting tears in my eyes, and I know why. Because sometimes people forget the grieving process. Sometimes other people will say to you, it's a year. It's it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So you are welcome to start your story anywhere. Anywhere, my girl. I cannot wait for people to hear how you are, how magnificent you are. All over to you.
Oh, all over to me. Wow. First off, I am so incredibly honored and still in awe of being here and being part of Soul of a Diamond. It's incredible. It's only back in April that my beautiful friend Susie from Australia invited me to join your group, which I said, if you're in, I'm in, because if you're, it must be amazing. So I joined the group, not even knowing what the group was. And then all of a sudden, fast forward, I've written a chapter in a book, and now we're bestsellers. And I'm like, where does this happen? Well, and it's divine intervention. It's the good Lord, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But then I joined the group, and then I was on a Zoom meeting, and there's beautiful Donna, who I know from another group that's run by one of my best friends, and it's like, this is crazy. How much better does it get? I'm incredibly thrilled to be here and to meet you and Natalie and all of these incredible women telling their stories. And we all have a story, and within that story is where we often find our purpose in life. So my story, as you know, is yeah, it's a long one. And there's a lot of, there's and first there's a caveat. I'm not going to apologize if I get tears, because I'm not used to talking about my story. I've written it, but I'm not used to telling about it. And grief is something that we never know when it's going to pop up. We don't know where it can come from. And so at the most, sometimes inopportune moments, it'll pop up, but that's okay. But anyways, here we go. And this is definitely new for me to be sharing all of this. But anyways, my story started when I was 5 years old. And I'm going to digress a little bit about this, because what happened was that 2 years ago, I was taking a course, and I was in the course, we were doing a meditation. And in the meditation, we were asked to go back to a time in our lives where that really changed us. And I went back as if I was watching a movie to when I was 5 years old, and what I'm about to talk about. It was incredible. And I came out of that, and I sat down at my computer, and I wrote 3 chapters of my book. And the chapter that, if anyone that's read it, that's the first chapter of my book, and I've never changed anything. And so I tell everybody, I'm the vessel, just a vessel that the good Lord is working through to bring my message to anyone that can help them. So that's that part of it. And here I am. And so I've sat on my book for probably almost 2 years. I've been writing it, and everything in that came from meditation, and it's incredible. It really did. So it's the divine working through me. But I've been kind of, sitting on it a little bit, and everybody has a story, and everybody's read a story about grief, and who cares to read another one, really? And so I've been doing that, and then all of a sudden I'm here, which is incredibly, I think it's a divine saying, How many more times do I have to push you towards where you need to be and what you need to be doing? So all of that is just incredible. So my story started when I was 5 years old, and I was an incredibly inquisitive child. I was five, and my grandmother always said an old soul knew way too much at that age. So my dad had come into the house one day, and was bringing in this little white box, and I knew, because I just knew things, that it was a doll for me. And so I was so excited, because what comes in beautiful white boxes but baby dolls. So my dad took the box into what was our parlor at the time, and of course came out and said to me, "Do not go in there," which was like dangling a carrot. He might as well have said, "Just go right in as soon as I'm out." So as soon as he was out, I was in there and climbed up on the chair, and thought, it's got to be a doll. I'm just going to take a quick peek. I looked around to make sure nobody was there, and opened the lid, and saw what I always thought an angel must look like. And I thought, what a beautiful baby doll. And before I got a chance to go further with that, my dad came in, and he took me away from it, and he went out, and my grandmother was there, and my mom was in another room, and it was the first time I had ever seen my dad cry. My dad was a big, strong man, and I'd never seen him cry before. Sorry. I said I wasn't going to apologize, and I just went and did it. But anyways, and then he explained to me that, that it was a baby sister that we were, waiting to come home, and how she wanted to stay, but she had to be she was going to go to be with the angels. So I think right then and there, I kind of made up my mind that I was going to make sure that I didn't see my dad cry anymore. I was going to do what I needed to do to not make him sad anymore. And so that's where I became his shadow. From then on, my mom used to call me his shadow. So I was everywhere with him. We lost after Pearl died, and I think she became my little, my book talks about the little white box, and I think she became my guardian angel as well. And even at that age, I thought, no matter what, I take her with me. So and then we had two other sisters that died, and all in the same age. And my dad used to go to the cemetery all the time, and he cared for those little graves just incredibly. And so I was always with him, always tagging along, even though my mom would say to my dad, "Don't take her. You shouldn't take her with you." But I found a way to go. I was always there. And it just became sort of our thing. And I saw from him how he came back, because he was so devastated, and how he came back from that, and how he would talk to me about Pearl when we were in the cemetery, and the other little graves that he tended. And it just gave me a feeling, I think, very, very young, that even when there's a lot of sadness, there's still a lot of hope, right? So anyways, that, like I said, that was sort of my beginning of with baby Pearl. And then when I was 8 years old, my mom's dad died, and they were so close. And I once again I saw her, when I thought at the time she came down to being a little girl who just needed her dad, and I just saw all of that sadness again. Oh boy, I didn't think this was going to be this hard, but that's okay. I got it.
You got it.
Okay. I got it. I'm good. I got it. And then when I was 10, my grandmother, who was just the most incredible person, my grandmother was that person that, despite all your faults, etc., she just loved you, and was always waiting for you, and treated you like you were the most important person in the world. And she passed away, and my dad, and she was very young. She was only in her 40s. And my dad, once again, I saw him as if he was that little boy just needing his mom. But once again, as time kind of went on, I saw him come back from and get back to life, and the sadness went away, and I saw that, and that's always stuck with me. But then okay, I may need this now. So then when I was 18, and then our world was definitely rocked, because my mom, who was my best friend and just an incredible human being, so vibrant and so amazing, and she was killed in an accident. And it was such an awful time. And I think it's when I lost, even though I'd been little seeing grief, I think it's when I truly lost my innocence about life, and but also how fragile life is, and how much we need to appreciate it, and while we have these people in our lives. And my dad was incredibly devastated. My mom was like, they were soulmates if there ever was. But my aunt, who was my partner in crime, and she was my best friend, and she was our second mom, and she was just an incredible person, and she died in the same accident. So
Oh, no.
we lost everything, and it was just so incredibly hard to reconcile that. But I had, and that was the time when God and I weren't on good terms for a little while. He was always there, but I was rejecting him over, how could this happen? And I had, both my mom and my aunt were so incredibly involved in the church, and so incredibly involved in everything. And they were both just in their early 40s. And it was like, wow, two lives, ripped away from their families. And I had younger siblings. I had a 17-year-old brother and an 8-year-old sister. And so they needed, me to, and like I said, my dad was devastated. And I think that I never had the time to grieve myself. I never had, because I was so caught up in, and it's interesting how we view life, and and people around us sometimes, and it was interesting how many times I heard from different people, family and friends, is, oh, it's so terrible about Ron and Kelly that they lost their mom. And nobody ever remembered, it seemed like, that I'd lost mine too. So it was not intentionally, because, that was not, it was just that I was there. I was the one that was taking the mom role. So, people just, I think, just forgot that, that I was grieving as well. And I don't think to this day that I really did. I was angry at God, but I don't think I really grieved how I teach people now to grieve, because, I don't think I had the time to do that. Right. And then my grandmother, my mom's mom, who was incredible. I mean, she was the one when my mom died. That was her only daughter, and they were so incredibly close, and she was so close. My aunt was, my uncles. My mom had one brother, and that was his wife. So my grandmother was so close to both of them. But she's the one who said to me, when we lose loved ones, we grieve our loss, but then we have to go on. We have to live for them, and we have to share their stories, and we have to, make sure that their memories are with us always. And then when she passed away, it felt like I'd lost my last connection to my mom. And that was, that was another incredible blow. But then when it felt like things had kind of settled down a bit, I say I don't remember too many times in my life where we weren't grieving some loss. But then when things kind of settled down a bit and it felt like things were okay, um, my dad unexpectedly passed away. And he was, really what we had left. And we have the one thing I have that I'm blessed with, and it came from both sets of parents, but what I'm blessed with is an incredible sense of humor. And I come by that honestly. And I sometimes say that I think God, when all of our stories were being written, and God said, "Well, I think this one's going to have a lot of caca." I don't think he said the S word, so caca to deal with. So I think what I'll do is give her a good sense of humor. She's going to need it. So when we were at my dad's funeral, and we were sitting there, and my brother leaned over to me and he said, "Oh my God, I just realized we're orphans." And we laughed, because we laughed in a way that you do in these situations. And it was like, because it was something like my mom or my dad would have said. So it was funny. And then I had they were playing this song Precious Memories, which is one of my favorite, Amazing Grace and Precious Memories. They had played at the funeral. And when they were playing Precious Memories, I had a vision that just went right across in front of me of my mom and dad's wedding picture. And it was like, wow, where did that come from? But it was almost as if um, him saying, it's okay, we're back together again. But it was incredible how that happened. And so then we always used to say in the family, it felt like for a long, long time as if we were somehow targeted, that where we, you know, some bad karma, what was going on. And we used to say, we're just always waiting for that next shoe to drop. And it seems like we get caught up when we grieve, we get caught up in dates, and we get caught up in the date that we lost a loved one. And every year on the 6th of July, which is the date that my mom died, we always say to each other, okay, and okay, as long as nothing happens today, it's tomorrow's okay, but not today. And so we were always waiting for that other shoe to drop. And I was, if you read some of my story, you know that I have a military background. So I was in Afghanistan when my sister called me, and the first thing she said was, Marie, the other shoe dropped." And I went, "Oh no." So her husband, or young husband, and it just, oh, that's incredible. He was my brother too, because he was just a beautiful person, had been diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. And so that was just, I couldn't believe it. I thought for some reason, crazy of this is, I thought for some reason while I was away in Afghanistan that nothing bad can happen back home, because over here it's okay, but not back home. So I almost had a sense of that they were protected while I was away. So this came sort of as a wow to me. So I had some leave coming up, so I came home to spend some time with them, and never regret that time. But I think about when I was leaving to go back to Afghanistan, and they were at the airport, and I was walking away, and I said to myself, "Don't look around, don't look back," because all I could picture in my head was the little 8-year-old girl back when our mom died. And so, anyways, and after I came home, Paul, he did pass away, but he had a wicked sense of humor, just like me. So we said from the time he passed at the hospital, and everything that happened to us right up to the funeral, after that, you couldn't write the script for it, how funny things were. And everything we tried to do had a funny undertone to it. So thanks to him. So we'd always say, okay, Paul, knock it off. And so we get to, I tell this story because it really is, cute. So we get to the cemetery, and he's buried, by the ocean, in this beautiful place by the ocean. And we're there, and the priest is standing in front, and the priest is, I think, 104, probably, at least. He's that old. And he's wearing a toupee. And the wind, as he's talking about Paul, the wind comes up and his toupee starts flapping in the wind. And my sister and I just look at each other and say, oh my God. And we're laughing. And she said, everybody behind us is going to think, good Lord, how callous are they? But it was absolutely, it was hilarious. And we're like, oh my Lord, Paul, just, stop it now. We get it. But so I really like it. It was him helping us, through this. But and there's yeah. So, and then when I was in boot camp, my best friend, who we became soul sisters, and we were from completely different parts of the country, and we'd never met before. We were, idealistic, and saw the world through, and we became just soulmates. And we always said that God put us together to help us through a lot of the stuff in life. And then shortly after this, she got cancer. And then within too long of a time, she passed away. But when I say in my story, when I was at the hospital, and we cried, and we and we laughed, and we cried about the things over the years, and everything, and it was beautiful. And when I left the hospital room, I mean, of course I was sad, but my thought was, it's okay, soul sister, we'll see each other again, it's okay. And I went home, and the day that she died, I had a rose bush in my garden that was basically dead. It was a brown stick. There was nothing on it. And she loved roses. And so I got word that she died. And I went out to the garden and to this stick, because I saw something red over there. And on this stick was two of the most beautiful red roses. And I said, wow, okay. I get it, darling. I hear you. It's, yeah. And then shortly after she died, within days, her husband, who was also my dear friend, he found out he had cancer, and was gone within 3 weeks.
Oh,
And
wow.
and it was just so incredible, and left behind, a daughter that was, obviously devastated. And but I promised my friend that I would be there for her daughter, and we are very close. We are very close now. And but it was just another. It's like, wow, when does it stop? And there's been, I'm not going to go on, because I don't want to turn this into. That's why I'm always reluctant to tell my story, because, and I only tell enough in my work to let people know that, I do understand. I don't just talk the talk. I've walked the walk. I've been there. But it's but something that I never share, and I'm actually sharing it here, which is incredible. But that I never tell people about is that I never truly understood what it meant to lose a child until I did. And when I lost my little girl, and then I understood what my parents went through. But Mother Teresa, as a famous quote, she says, God, I know you only give me what I can handle, but there are days when I wish you didn't have so much confidence in me.
Wow.
And it's true, right? But it's life. I went through a period. I think after my mom died, I joined an enviable group that I didn't ask to join, Daughters Without Mothers, and it was, there seemed like there was a stigma attached to that somehow when I see my friends with their moms, and it was almost like there was a stigma attached, that and somehow it was like, what did I do? Why did I? And this, I mean, now I know how much this is all a part of the grieving process, and I better understand that. But at the time, it was, it was so, I didn't even want to tell anybody that my mom was gone, because it felt like there was, it said something about me. And so I've often, I haven't done so yet, but I want to do some work around with Daughters Without Mothers, because there is a whole, stigma and a story around that. So it's true that when the woman who brought you into this world is no longer there, it's a lonely place. It really truly is. I read this quote, and I love it. And it says, "Remember, look out for the little girl who still lives inside you somewhere. She misses her mama very much. Be kind to her."
Wow. That is
Right?
so beautiful.
Be kind to her. So my integration, because we don't, in the work that I do, and I have always hated the word closure, because I don't believe that it's like we just are closing off our loved ones that have gone on, and leaving them in the past, and that's not what we do. Now we term it to be integration. So instead of closing the door and leaving them behind, we integrate them into our lives, and we bring them with us, and we do that with our memories, and we choose to commemorate them. So my integration between pain and loss and grief is what I do now. And and I am here, like I said, I'm grateful. I'm incredibly grateful for my journey. Of course, I'm not grateful for my losses, and would give anything not to have had them. But within that journey is where I've found my purpose. And the divine showed me, like I talked about, the divine showed me where I needed to be, and I think I've known it for a long time, but I was just hesitant to put myself out there and stuff. But my mentor, my grief education mentor, said to me, "You're perfectly positioned to help the person you once were, but you can't do that if nobody knows about you." So I think and I do, I mean, I run groups. I do a lot of work. I just finished an 8-week group on edutherapy, which is an incredible process to help people see that are lonely, that they're not lonely in their journey, that you're not alone. And so the work that I do, I love every minute of what I do, because nobody can ever say to us, or we should never say to anybody else, "I know how you feel," because we don't. We never know how someone else feels. We can understand. Maybe we've been through something where we can understand, but we don't know what someone else feels like, because grief is very personal, and everybody goes through it differently. And so yeah, I feel like I've been just rambling. Am I?
No, it was beautiful. And I do have to apologize. We are on battery power, so my internet is unstable. But you can just continue, my beautiful one. I am here, and the voice is coming beautifully. But it will be perfect when it's going out on E360. Just on my side, my internet is very slow. So if I do speak slowly or don't come through beautifully, I'm here for you, but it's a beautiful story, and I have shown you quite a few of Angel Marie's comments. And yes, the last one, hugs and more hugs. Thank you for your story. Your story is incredible. You are welcome to continue, my beautiful Marie.
Okay, you know what, I think the thing about, I think I've shared enough about my story, but I think the thing about grief is that, you know, I've said it, I've heard it said many times. I'm sure we all have, that the grief is a price we pay for love, and it really truly is. But would we, as, and even Garth Brooks said in his song, you know, I could have missed a pain, but I would have had to miss to dance. And I think I'm glad I didn't miss the dance. I would not have wanted to have missed any of, um, the life that I had with my loved ones. I wouldn't have wanted to have missed any of that, right? So I think that, life really is a dance. It truly is. And, you know, we, grief is grief and loss is loss. Like, we can't we can't survive. As my dad used to say, there's only two things in life that are for sure. He always said it was death and taxes, but which is true. But grief is something that we will all go through in our lives. We can't have lived and not have lost. And sometimes we get into the comparison game. Yes, I've had an incredible lot of loss in my life, but that's no different than if someone else has had one loss. It's not the amount of loss that we've had. It's what, you know, we grieve in proportion to what, how committed we were to that person. And I'm, you know, there are, I mean, you know, there's a whole other world around people that die in traumatic situations, and maybe there was not reconciliation and stuff like that. But
Yes,
my story is more about, you know, the there was a lot of love, so it's about that. But we can't have lived and we can't have loved without having gone through something. That's the human experience. And I always say that we are, you know, souls having a human experience. And within that experience, we're all going to have, you know, different experiences. But we should never, sometimes people compare that, oh, your grandfather died, but at least he was old, you know, and at least, and we use, a lot of people use the word at least, which is terrible, because you should never at least anything, because the grief to the person who lost a loved one is no different. It doesn't matter how old they were. It doesn't matter what happened. Grief is grief, and loss is loss. And but we should never compare that one loss is worse than the other, because it isn't. It isn't. We all feel the same grief. We all mourn in the same ways. We don't always do it in the same time frames, and which there
yes,
is no time frame. Let me put that in, which is something else that I hate. We, in society, we try to tell people that you're supposed to, you know, at a certain time, you're supposed to have been done grieving. You should this and you should that and you should, you know, and shoulda, woulda, coulda. And there is no such thing. In these stages, like Kubler-Ross gave the stages of you know, life, and I, stages of death. And I, think, you know, that I remember Kubler-Ross because, and about the stages of death. And the reason I remember that so well is because in social work and in counseling circles, when I was at university, Kubler-Ross is the queen of, you know, death and dying. So she was also a real good bet to get a good score on your exam. So that was the one, the one thing that I always remembered. Granted, I think I put her name in when there wasn't even a question about her, just to get an edge up, but that's besides the point. It didn't work. But those stages are not, like, nothing is written in stone. And people think, and a lot of times we get lost in our grief because we think we should be further along than we are. We
mm,
think that we should be at a certain stage because people are telling us, you know, oh my goodness, it's been a year, should you not, or, you know. And I heard this story, and it's crazy story, but a true story, that this girl had lost her husband, and it had only been about 3 months. And she was at a family get together, and her sister's best friend came up to her and said, "You have to get over all of this, because this grieving, because you're upsetting your sister, and it's not fair to her." And right, so sometimes some of the messages that we get are crazy. But what I tell people as well, sometimes when people say certain things to us, I think when that happens, because people don't know how to handle grief, they don't know how to talk to us, they don't know if it will upset us if they talk to us, they don't know if they should say anything. When anyone who's been through a loss, we want to talk about them. We want our grief to be witnessed, and we want them to be validated that they were here. And I see that, Angel, and you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter. I've had people in my groups that had lost a pet, and it doesn't matter what the loss is. Loss is loss, and grief is grief. Is that simple? And it's your personal loss. So, but I think when I say to people, if someone has said something that upsets you, maybe just take a minute and drop into your heart and think, did they do it on purpose? Were they trying to hurt you? And most of the time, not. It's just that people do, they do the best they can because they don't know any better. And one of the things in grief education, what I teach and what I talk about, are some of these things about how we view grief in life, and etc. So yeah. Well, I don't know.
No, it's okay. What I wanted to ask you, my beautiful one, you mentioned that you have done a lot of humor. Is
Yes.
there is there one or two things that you can maybe mention to the viewers out there that can that they can maybe use to just help in certain situations? A little bit of humor. Can you give us some pointers to that?
I I think what we sometimes, because when we're grieving, we forget about that part of the person that is gone, because all we remember is the end and the grief. And in the course I just did, what I did was I asked people to come up with a memory about their loved one, and they came up with something. And then I said, okay. And everybody, of course, comes up with, oh, they were so this and that and something else. And then I said, okay, now tell me something silly that they did. Tell me something stupid that they did. And they're like, oh. And then we get into, and it just blew open because then everybody got into, and it was so funny, and everybody said they felt so much better. So I think for me, and I think it's just good, period, when we're remembering our loved ones, and in particular sometimes when the grief is too soon and it's too fresh. But when we're at a place where, because we start to heal when we can remember our loved ones with more love than pain, and with that love comes everything there was about them. None of us are perfect. We've all done silly things, and we've all done. And so bringing that back into it, and integrating that into something funny you do, right? And instead of just remembering, and at a point we do get there. The one thing about grief, I tell everybody as well, is that you can't go over grief, you can't go under it, you can't go around it. The only way to heal is you have to go through it. And going through it is all of the things that we need to do. We need to do to get back to where we don't see as much of the darkness anymore, and we start to see the light. And that truly is when we start to heal.
That's so beautiful. So, are you ready to see your video again, my beautiful Marie?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, here we go. When we come back, I'm going to ask you what's your golden nugget, and then I am going to play a song for you that I have written. But beautiful Rick Dougal, it's a friend of Crystal Rose. He have composed the song and he have sing it for us. His voice is truly amazing. There is
Cool.
one more message from Angel. Let me just quickly show this. My beautiful Angel, thank you so much for all your comments. Yes, beautiful insight. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, my beautiful Angel. So here is your video. Here we go.
Hi, it's Marie here. I am incredibly humbled and grateful to be a part of Soul of a Diamond with all of you incredible women from all over the world sharing your stories. We all have a story, and often within that story is where we find our true calling. My story is around grief and loss, and through my pain, I have found my purpose to help others navigate that process. Professionally, I'm a social worker, counselor, a grief educator, and an edutherapy practitioner, but what I am more importantly is I'm a griever. I do know what it feels like to have a dark night of the soul, and I also know what it feels like to come out of the darkness into the light. Thank you. I love it. I love it.
I brought in the boots. I brought in the little one with the glasses, and then I went and searched for another photo. And there's not a lot of photos on your beautiful your web. Your Facebook, and then you sent me one photo that I could not use. It didn't want to come up in Canva, so I thought, okay, now I need to go and search for another photo. My beautiful Marie, what is your golden nugget?
Oh, my golden nugget, I think is, what did I was going to actually read what I did as my golden nugget. And I said that, well, basically there is life after loss. And I don't believe that death has the power to take away our love and our hope and our joy, and that all of that we bring with us.
Yes, I love that. So the wording that is in the book is there is life after loss. I do not believe that death has the power to end our relationship, end our love, end our hope. We often think that there is no way to heal from loss, but we start to heal when we can remember our loved one who have more love than pain. That's incredible. I actually have goosebumps. Thank you so much. So let me move us a little bit back and then let me play my amazing, beautiful, radiant heart, because as a soul of a diamond, you are my radiant heart. And I have to start the music to stop it so that I can go to the beginning, because I don't know why this is giving me a problem, but just give me 1 second, and then I have to stop it and then go back. I don't know why it doesn't. I have tried to do different ways, but it didn't. It didn't want to do that, and now it doesn't want to move. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I cannot get it to the front. Maybe I must reload this thing. I think maybe I must try to do that. I'm too scared to click here refresh, because I'm scared it's going to go out of. So here we go. It will be somewhere in the middle, but I'm not sure where it's going to start. So here we go.
Okay.
Moments of moving from there to here, between the stars and the moonlight's glare, capturing a glimpse of the light so rare, brightly shining, our hearts declare. Radiant hearts, you shine so bright in the diamond moments of love and light. In the warmth of the love we show, the golden glimpse of our diamonds glow. Kindness that we find, our hearts desire, the love we share in the radiant fire. Radiant hearts, You shine so bright in the diamond moments of love and light.
So you are
Love
my
it.
radiant heart. You are
Wow.
my soul of a diamond. How was the song for you, my beautiful
Oh, it's
one?
beautiful. It's
Oh,
beautiful.
well, thank you. I just
Yeah.
need to quickly do this. So my beauty, I don't have a book because I am here in South Africa and Amazon. It's yeah, we don't get Amazon as yet, and there is a little bit difficult to get post from the USA because we don't have a post office and and our courier services is being hijacked. So the
Wow.
chances that my book is gonna, but so I have a paper, but I just wanted to say how amazing that you are part of this amazing Soul of a Diamond complete book. I always struggle when I didn't practice before, but all of the 20 stories in this book, and we got a golden seal now. So
Yes.
I will be in October. We'll be getting my books because somebody is coming from America to South Africa. So
Oh,
my beautiful Marie. Thank you for being part of the show. Thank you for being part of my dream. Because if you ask me 25 June 2023 that I will have a magazine, that I will have a diamond, a Soul of a Diamond TV show, and a book compilation, I would not have thought that. But God gave me this God given project in 2 minutes with an electric eel. That was like a miracle. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of it. And I want to say thank you for changing so many people's life and their idea of loss and how they can deal with that. I loved it. So thank you so much for being on this show. My beautiful viewers on E360, I hope that you loved Marie's story. You are also welcome to check out Marie's story in the Diamond Moment magazine for August. So on Monday, the 1st of July, issue number 11 will come out, and that will be July. So we already worked on that. But then the next issue, the first week in August, Beautiful Mary's story will be in the magazine. You can read it there. And then let me just get this quickly. You can also buy our beautiful book on Amazon. And you can read not only Mary's story, but 19 other ladies' story in the Soul of a Diamond. My beautiful diamond beauties and Tanzanite heroes, thank you for everyone that have purchased the book and helped us to become bestsellers. And please give our gratitude towards your family, towards your friends, and all your fans that have helped us and that's continually helping us with reviews. We've got so many reviews. We are so truly blessed. So thank you, my beautiful Miriam. Thank you, everyone out there, and please have an amazing day. Look after yourself, smile often, and keep on dancing. Bye
thank
bye.